McCarthy.
I'm going after everybody.
They say off the air he's a nice guy.
And there will be no mercy.
But you know otherwise. It's Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
That home run, August the 13th, 2017 for Rafi at the time. It was a coming out party. Much different circumstances here. And he struck him out. 102 to Fan Devers. 0 for 5 against the Sox tonight.
Here's my best pitch. See if you can hit it.
Would have been strike 3 had he taken it. So Devers now 3 for 16.
Twitter activity, I think a lot of people stayed up for that, and you got rewarded. You got rewarded as a sports fan last night, which is nice given a week before you got completely, well, not rewarded, effed by the franchise, trading their best player for a bag of baseballs, which, of course, we will continue to talk about today at 617-779-0985. Anything you want on the Devers angle, anything you want on the Devers story. This Jeff Passen thing is incredible. We'll get to more of this story. We started to break it down a little bit yesterday. We'll do certainly more of it today. But how about the game last night? A just straight up baseball game? That was a good baseball game. Back and forth. Errors, walks all over the place, weird baseball game, and Rafael Devers goes 0 for 5. Now, I think a lot of Red Sox fans are pissed at Rafael Devers. I'm probably more upset at Devers than the average fan. I'm okay with the Red Sox trading him. I am. I don't think a lot of people are, but I am. I have spent the majority of the last week defending the organization as much as you really can, because obviously the organization deserves a lot of blame for the way they handled this. And more of that has come to light in recent days, especially in this Jeff Passen article, which we will get into here a lot on the program today. We'll go through a lot of the just the juicy details about all the problems going on behind the scenes. And I think this Devers trade really is the type of moment that reveals how dysfunctional and how broken the Boston Red Sox are. But on top of all of it, that guy's a turd. He's a putz. And I thoroughly enjoyed watching him go 0 for 5 last night. And if you didn't feel that a little bit, even if you're pro Devers in all of this, I think there must have been a part of you that enjoyed that. They gassed him last night. 102 from Chapman. Went right after him. Threw him one breaking ball, had him way out in front, but it was the gas, not the ass, Joe Murray. And the Red Sox went after Rafael Devers all night long. I loved the way they pitched him. He turned around on one of them. Well, didn't turn it around. He took it to left center field. Nearly
second and bat, right? They were saying there's 6 ballparks, it would have been out.
Yep, it would have been out at Fenway. That's a tough ballpark to hit in. Devers' production is going to go down a little bit in that ballpark. That is a pitcher's ballpark. If you've ever been there, it's tremendous. It's probably the best ballpark in baseball. It's that or it's Pittsburgh. If you're a baseball fan, you got to get there, and you haven't been there. It's worth the trip.
Very good looking. The ambiance, all that. My lady does want to, when the kids kind of go away, do the 30 for 30 kind of thing with the ballparks. She's a keeper for that.
Have you been there, George?
No. I've only been to Camden Yards for like outside of Fenway.
Camden Yards is incredible. You got to get there. You got to get there too. The 3 nicest ballparks in baseball are San Francisco, Pittsburgh, and Camden Yards. Like those are, and then you go to the classics, Fenway and Wrigley. That's the top 5. That's it. What a great place to catch a game. If you haven't been there, I can't recommend it enough. But that ballpark zaps power. The wind swirls around, it blows in. It's deep to left center field. So Devers' production is going to go down there a little bit. He's still going to be a really good hitter. And he's going to do a lot of damage for them. And he's the best hitter that they've had since Bonds. But the Red Sox weren't afraid of him. They went right after him last night. How do you not love that as a Red Sox fan? They know he hits breaking balls.
102 to Fan Devers.
100.
0 for 5.
102, baby. Right at him.
He was ratcheting it up.
Power versus power. That was a great at-bat. Because Devers is swinging out of his ass on the first pitch because he knows Chapman's coming at him with a fastball. Chapman elevates the fastball. Devers fouls it off.
that 1-1 slider too had him off his shoe top, so it's beautiful.
Tremendous pitch. Didn't you enjoy watching Rafael Devers, that fat ass, spin around a little bit? Didn't you enjoy that?
It's bittersweet because I am a fan of Devers, but it's crazy. The Chapman, I had no expectations for this. Chapman with location, I thought that was not a foregone conclusion. I thought he would be wild. So shout out to Chapman. It's been one of Brezlo's underrated signings coming into the 2025 season.
Craig Brezlo had himself a good offseason. He did. Chapman, Crochet, Narvaez, Bregman. You can maybe say he didn't want Bregman, but he waited out Bregman's market and got Bregman on a good deal for the team. Now, the way he handled the Devers situation was bad, really bad. It never should have blown up to this, and that's where I do fault Rafael Devers for handling things like a complete and total child. It takes a special type of effing up to get to this point from everybody involved, from the organization, ownership, the general manager, the front office, the manager, the player. Took all of that to get to this point, and it still should not have gotten to this point. But now that we're here, now that it's happened, we can't change anything about it. We'll talk about it. We'll break down how it all went wrong, and we'll spend the majority of the program doing that today with this Chef Passen piece and all of that. But as a fan, just purely as a Red Sox fan, very simple question to you. Did you like that moment last night? Wasn't there a little part of you, even if you are pro Devers, that looked at that moment and said, good. Screw you, buddy. How do you not feel that way? Even if you fault the Red Sox more than Rafael Devers. How is there not a part of you last night that doesn't have a little smirk on your face when Chapman gasses him like that? 102, elevated, take a seat. How do you not like that? How does that not get the juices flowing for you a little bit as a fan?
It's like you're speaking to me directly and my Red Sox fandom, but yes, it did get the juices flowing, and I have to root for that. As much as I want to boycott the Red Sox, I will never. This is it's hard for me to find really a comparison for this lineup really without a superstar. We'll see when Bregman gets back, but in my lifetime, I can't really think of a Sox lineup, barring injury, that has such a void in the middle of the lineup. But to the credit, the lineup stuck with it. It wasn't just Dobbins and the starting staff carrying them to victory last night. And the bottom half of the order, 8 and 9 hitters, Hamilton and Rafael are coming through Rafael and Hamilton to help us to push through.
They're playing good baseball right now. And that's going to become a part of the story. If they continue to play like this, if they, go 6-3 on this West Coast trip, and listen, a couple hours from now, they can pick up a series win. They picked up a series win in Seattle. West Coast trips often make or break seasons for East Coast teams. We've seen it a million times before. It's the way it is. Things often can go sideways when you go out west. And you think about the way this trip started, with Devers getting pulled off the plane, and there are great details about that in the Passen story, which we'll get to here momentarily. But this is where things could go sideways. It doesn't look right now like things are going to go sideways. It's going to catch up to them later on. Because in the end, the talent will become the problem. The problem for the Red Sox, up until now, has been culture. Culture has been an issue. Devers was at the center of that. I think the manager's been at the center of that. Obviously, the general manager is at the center of that behind the scenes. There are so many dysfunctional things going on with the Boston Red Sox, and those dysfunctional things have led to the Red Sox being a disappointment up until then, along with a mediocre pitching staff. But the pitching has been better, and the culture for now has been addressed. They're playing better baseball. Realistically, the Devers trade is not the reason they're playing better baseball right now. They're pitching. They're pitching better. The pitching approach has been better. They are throwing more fastballs. And they did not stick to their great philosophy, their tremendous philosophy. Nobody has ever had a better philosophy in baseball to just spin the hell out of the ball and don't throw fastballs. They have gone away from that a little bit in recent days. And last night, they went right at Devers by throwing him fastball after fastball after fastball after fastball. They're starting to move away from that thing a little bit, and the results are starting to come around. Eventually, the league is going to adjust. Baseball is a sport of adjustments over the course of 162 games, and that's where the lack of talent that they now have in this lineup and they now have in this team because Devers is no longer here anymore, that's where it's going to start to catch up with them. But for now, they're playing better baseball because they're pitching better, and the team, I think, is happy that Devers is gone. Where were the comments coming out on Monday or Tuesday from the team where you got the sense that they were upset about the way it all went down?
Underrated point by you right here, McTakey. I was waiting for that kind of, rallying cry or, a divided clubhouse kind of a feel.
Nope.
Not with this team. So it might have been a poison to the locker room.
Might have been. He was a poison. And nobody was really shedding a tear. I think the only thing I've heard is that Rafaela hasn't spoken, and maybe Rafaela and Devers are close. Okay, that's fine. If Cedar Rafaela is pissed off, fine. Cedar Rafaela can be pissed off. Whatever. He had 3 knocks last night, and it's one of the primary reasons you won the game.
We'll see how Bayo does.
And Bayo, too. You never know. Obviously, he has... you could argue that the issues with Brian Bayo are above the shoulders, and it always has been. So, was he close to Devers? Was he not close to Devers? There are probably a few guys. It's the way a 26-man clubhouse is going to be. There are probably a few guys who were on Devers' side of things. But I think the takeaway from this past week is that very few of them were. Because nobody was really all that broken up in their comments. It was very dismissive. But it's baseball. It's a trade. What are you going to do? Cora had comments last night. Let me pull this up here from Chris Cotillo. Do we have comments from Cora? George?
I have Cora commenting in the dugout pregame.
Can I have that?
Sure.
If you wouldn't mind. And then Chris Cotillo had something really interesting on Twitter last night that I'm not sure if we have audio of. But I know Cora did speak before the game. And let's be honest, he didn't seem all that broken up by this whole thing either. And there's more in the Passen story about Cora being in support of the trade. So that's the takeaway, is that most of those guys aren't too upset that Rafael Devers is gone. Cora last night to a San Francisco-based reporter, this according to Chris Cotillo. San Francisco-based reporter asked Alex Cora about the kind of teammate and clubhouse presence Rafael Devers is. Quote, Rafi was always ready to play at 7 o'clock. He was always ready to hit, ready to play defense. Whenever he played defense, I appreciate that. Unquote. Alex, the question about what kind of teammate he was. And your response is, he liked hitting and he was ready to field when we asked him to field. Except he wasn't. That's tremendous. That tells you everything you need to know. Hey, what type of guy is he? Well, he really likes hitting a baseball. Well, is he a good teammate? Give me bat, I'll hit. What?
Does it seem disingenuous, or is he sticking up for the former player? I'm not.
No,
right?
No, he's taking a shot at the former player. Rafi was always ready to play at 7 o'clock. That's the type of teammate he was. Meaning, he was a turd, and he was a poison in the clubhouse, and nobody's upset that he's gone. At least not in that room. How'd you not like that last night, watching them strike him out, 9th inning, 0 for 5. 0 for 5. 617-779-0985. We start out with Rafael Devers. More on this Jeff Passen piece coming your way after this. And Devers' comments about wanting to play first base in San Francisco. We'll get to all of it. Phone lines open. It's Matt McCarthy hanging out on a Saturday.
More Matt McCarthy on the way.
Nice play, Renfro.
Hot takes
This team blows.
and passion advice.
Shave your mustache, dude. It sucks.
Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
A Red Sox fan might say, why wouldn't he play first base for us, but he'll play first base for the Giants? How would you answer that question, just if fans are wondering?
Los fanáticos de Boston, si se preguntan por qué no quiso jugar primera base para nosotros, pero está dispuesto para jugarlo con los Gigantes, ¿qué les diría a ellos?
Porque creo que he puesto mucho número, puso mucho número en esa organización y me mereció un poco de respeto. Y si me lo hubiesen pedido al principio de Spring Training, creo que lo hubiese hecho.
I would say that I have put some good numbers over at Boston, and I think that I do feel that I have earned some respect. And if they would have asked me at the beginning of spring training, yes, I would have played.
Do you really believe that? No, seriously.
I kind of do.
For the folks who are defending Devers in this, and I know you're out there, 617-779-0985, do you really believe that Rafael Devers, this child with his ego, if the Red Sox had asked him to move to first base, he would have done it? Come on. Oh, but now he's more than happy to do it in San Francisco.
Yeah.
You know why he's more than happy to do it in San Francisco? Because he's a child and he wants to flip you the double bird.
He needs to behave now. He's on his best behavior. You know that.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yes, the Red Sox mismanaged it. Yes, the Red Sox approached things the wrong way. They should have asked nicer, asked better, kept him apprised of the Bregman and Arenado stuff over the offseason. Yes, of course. But his ego was hurt. And there was no way, no matter which way you approached him, that his ego was not going to be hurt. This is what it all comes down to. He was embarrassed. Rafael Devers grew up idolizing Adrian Beltre. He wanted to be a third baseman because Adrian Beltre was a third baseman. Anything, any way you approached him, he was going to reject and get upset about. Because you were the one who took him away from his position.
Has a lot to do with it, I think, yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, he wanted to really be... I think an understated argument is a letdown for him was the Bregman playing second base, and I think that was the start of the bruising of the ego. The lack of communication, albeit, even though he should have heard the murmurs. I mean, Arenado and Bregman were really on the Red Sox radar. That was for right-handed bat. That was all this offseason, so I don't know where Devers is putting his head in the sand on that one, but I do think that they should have been more forthright. Once they actually had the thoughts in mind on closing in on Bregman and what they were going to do with Devers, and I think that he was just led astray and led to believe that Bregman was going to be a second baseman and that his position was all set. And then from there, a little bit too pouty and baby for my liking. That's where I would go with it. But I think he was still producing at the plate. I think he tried his best to kind of compartmentalize it. It took him a week and a half, with the slow start of the season. But
why was the start of the season slow, George?
Probably because he wasn't ready.
Correct.
From the spring training and the fiasco there. Right.
Because he's a baby.
But that bitterness lasted only 2 weeks,
Right. Well, yeah, because he hit his way into shape. Correct. All you need is 10 days, 2 weeks in spring training to get your timing down and get ready. Spring training is all about the pitchers.
Especially as a DH as well. I think that there was too much made of DH as a position and learning that lifestyle. I think that was way overblown.
Right. Position players and hitters could report to spring training 2 weeks before the start of the regular season and they'd be ready to go. Devers refused to participate in spring training because he was mad at the team. And yes, thank you, Rafi, but you don't anymore. You know why? Because we signed somebody who's better than you at it. And he could not accept that. Should the Red Sox have been more forthcoming about approaching Bregman and approaching Arenado? Yes. Should they have told him that it was going to happen? Yes. Passen reports that deal came together quickly and Devers found out without the Red Sox telling him that he found out, that basically the deal was struck and within an hour it had been reported. So the Red Sox didn't really even have time to get in touch with Rafael Devers. Okay, Rafi, they were pursuing Bregman all offseason. And if they didn't get Bregman, they were going to trade for Nolan Arenado. That was reported all over the place. George, if the Red Sox are trading for Nolan Arenado, are they trading for Nolan Arenado to put him at first base?
No chance in hell.
Nolan Arenado is one of the two best defensive third basemen literally in the history of baseball. It's him and it's Brooks Robinson. That's it. You're not trading for that guy and moving him to first base because Rafi wants to play third. The whole thing, hey, why are you willing to do this in San Francisco? Well, I put up a lot of good numbers at Fenway. Oh, give me a break with that. Oh, if they had asked nicer, if they had asked me at the beginning of spring training, I would have done it. You wouldn't have done it. You're a child. You have a bruised ego. So that gets me to Passen. He wrote about this. Rafael Devers is going to play first base for the San Francisco Giants. Maybe not this weekend when the Red Sox come to town, but it will happen soon. And as much in those in the anti-Devers camp point to the double standard, one person close to him said there's another takeaway to glean. Quote, sometimes it's not the message, he said. It's how the message is delivered. Unquote. BS. BS.
We have to be adults in the situation.
He's not.
Yeah, he was ego-driven in the situation, and you just became salty. I think it just compiled over each other, and then the Costa situation happened. That's when a good teammate should have just stepped up. I'm going to get the glove. You told me to leave it home. I'm going to bring the glove. Do what's best for the team.
Passen writes, the message from the Giants was clear. We're thrilled you're here. We see the importance of transparency. Buster Posey, the future Hall of Famer who took over Giants baseball operations over the winter, and manager Bob Melvin walked Devers through the state of the franchise. With Gold Glove third baseman Matt Chapman signed for 6 more years, the Giants see Devers as a first baseman and a DH. San Francisco's best prospect, Bryce Eldridge, whom the Red Sox initially targeted in their discussions with the Giants before recognizing the Giants would not budge from their position that he would not be in any Devers deal, plays first and is expected to debut in the major leagues this season. When the time comes, Devers will know, which is all he really wanted in the first place. I disagree. I completely and totally disagree. It's easier for him to accept when he gets traded to San Francisco that he's not going to be a third baseman. You know why? Because very few teams in baseball would put Rafael Devers at third base full-time at this point. That's it. He understands the landscape. He's smart enough to understand the landscape. Chapman's hurt. When he comes back, he's a far superior defender than Devers. He's not going to play over there. Maybe he'll play there occasionally. Chapman gets banged up. They'll put him in the field, a day off. They might be willing to do that. But Rafael Devers will never, ever be a full-time, 155 days a year third baseman ever again in baseball. That ship has sailed. He understands that. But he's willing to accept it elsewhere because the San Francisco Giants were not the team that hurt his feelings. That's what it comes down to.
It's a hard pill to swallow as a Red Sox fan, and it is going to be tough when we see him there with the first baseman glove, playing first base.
And he will. He will play first base, and he'll do it part-time, which is probably all the Red Sox wanted in the first place. If the Red Sox were smart, that's all they should have wanted in the first place. Rotate him through. 3 days a week at first base, 3 days a week at DH. Can you just do it to try to help the team so we can get Roman Anthony and Willie Abreu and Jarren Duran into the lineup at the same time and keep our best defensive center fielder in center field? You don't have to do that every day of the week. Can you do it 3 days a week? That's not all that unreasonable. The Red Sox were not unreasonable in asking him to play first base, and he dug in his heels because he's a child. That's it. That's the only reality to it. And, when Sean McAdam asked him yesterday, or I don't know if it was Sean who specifically asked the question, but it was Sean who tweeted it out, said, if he could go back, what did he wish was different? Devers responded, nothing. He wished he did nothing differently. Come on, man. Really? But I think he believes that. I think he totally believes the Red Sox are 100% at fault for all of this, and nobody should have the audacity and the gall to ask him to do something. That's who he is. We have that audio? Let's hear that.
Rocky, there was obviously kind of a disconnect between you and the team in the last few months. Is there anything that they could have done to repair that?
Like I said, that's in the past. I really don't want to talk about it. I want to concentrate now on what's in the future for me.
Oh, everything was in the past last night. Everything.
Can't run away from that commentary soon enough.
Can't run away from this guy soon enough. The only problem is he was your best hitter.
Yeah, it's
But
hard to replicate that talent.
He's a poison. He's a poison. And he proved it again last night with those comments that he made. I think you know it again by reading this Passen story. Don't fall for the trap. Oh, it was a way that sometimes it's not the message; it's how the message is delivered. He was never going to accept the message that the Red Sox needed to deliver.
I'm with you and
they should have delivered it better, no doubt about it. And they deserve criticism for that. And we're going to get into all the things that they screwed up in all of this.
That's right.
But the player was never going to accept it because of who he is.
An underrated component in this is Cora's inability to reach the player on this, and that's one slight I will accept on Cora. He should have been able to break the ice there. He has his own vendettas with upper management. I think that we'll see how that arranged marriage between Brezlo and Cora is going forward.
Oh, they're in vendettas, all right, because the Brezlo stuff in this story, it's a doozy. 617-779-0985. They are painting him as a very vengeful nerd. And he might be. But Craig Brezlo is, according to Jeff Passen, seizing power within the Red Sox organization and is purging opponents. Who are the opponents? Who is the source in this story? I'm going straight Mike Felger on this. You said I've got my highlighter? I've got 13 pages of Jeff Passen right here. This thing is incredible. What a story.
Yeah, there's a mole. There's some insubordination going on. I don't know if they're in an alignment, to be sure.
No alignment there. I have a comment on those alignment comments from the other day. We'll get to that. Your calls. I see 2 open lines. Grab them. 617-779-0985. It's McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
Stay tuned for more Matt McCarthy. He's got the instructions you need.
Wrap that meat.
Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
We couldn't find alignment.
You failed to reach alignment.
In terms of what was missing, it just was that alignment. We didn't get to the alignment that we needed. I thought we'd ultimately get to a place of complete alignment.
And like Sam said, ultimately we weren't able to achieve that alignment.
You can't find alignment with someone you've got a long-term commitment to. There's blame to go around on all sides when you can't get to alignment.
If I can just jump in, just to follow up.
Sorry, go ahead. Yep.
Failing to reach that alignment. Ultimately, as Sam has pointed out, this kind of lack of alignment, we failed to reach that alignment.
We thought we had alignment, and when we came to the conclusion that we did not have a full alignment.
I don't know why Summer Breeze it hits with that, George. That's the people's champ back there doing his thing. Man. The Red Sox have been mocked mercilessly all week for the alignment stuff, the alignment buzzword, which I get a little bit of overkill there, guys.
You think they have like some premeditated meeting or something on that? And that was the buzzword.
It's deliberate. I don't know if anybody's mentioned this week. I haven't heard this. Alignment is a total shot at Rafael Devers. Defensive alignment. It's a term we use in baseball. That's why they kept saying alignment. They really didn't want to go too far into the Devers stuff. They didn't really address anything about that. They kept going back to alignment. Translation, this fat piece of crap won't go play first base for us.
I love this point by you as well, because when you do hear the word alignment, the first thought is car and automobile easily. No. So defensive alignment should be probably the second thing on the list, right?
That's what it is. Every time they use the word alignment, they intended it as a shot at Rafael Devers. I don't know if it quite landed the way they wanted it to, but that was my first thought when I kept hearing the term alignment. It's like, yeah, they're taking a shot at Devers.
Tacit shots and indirects, man.
They're telling you why they traded this guy. He won't pick up a glove. We're asking him to pick up a glove because our first baseman blew his knee into a million pieces, and we couldn't see that coming. And then our third baseman got hurt, and Devers wanted nothing to do with it. That's why they kept doing it. That's why they kept saying it. I probably would have stopped at about 8 alignments instead of going to 14 alignments, but there you have it. But that was the intention of the message from the Red Sox, and I'm a little surprised people haven't totally picked up on that just yet, because I thought it was obvious.
Internally, they must have been going crazy, right? Months on end.
Ooh, let's say alignment. Let's keep saying alignment.
First base, Devers, the alignment would be so good. Yeah.
That's the point. That was the point of that. And like everything, I think they took it a little bit too far, along with the details that they shared in the Boston Globe about Devers getting kicked off a team flight in 2017. No, not 2017, when he was 17. So this from Jeff Passen, leading off his story. Awaiting takeoff on the Boston Red Sox charter flight early Sunday evening, Rafael Devers sat with teammates playing cards. The trip to Seattle would take a little bit more than 6 hours, and games were a reliable way to pass the time. A carefree bonding exercise for a team coming off a sweep of the rival New York Yankees. This was going to be a good flight. But before the Boeing 757 lifted off, Passen even has the details on the make and model of the flight, which, by the way, I would much prefer an Airbus if I'm the Red Sox. Just saying. All Airbus all the time, baby. I digress. Before the Boeing 757 lifted off, Red Sox manager Alex Cora approached Devers with a solemn look on his face. He had news, and there was no easy way to say it. Devers had just been traded to the San Francisco Giants. Devers was gobsmacked. He gathered his thoughts and his belongings, said goodbye to his teammates, strolled off the plane and into a cab, which, as an aside, remains one of the best parts about this story. They made him hail his own cab.
You would. It isn't the best look, but I understand. It's like good riddance.
That shows how personal it was.
It does.
I mean, seriously, it shows how personal it was. Yeah, now you, buddy, why don't you figure out your own way home? Hail a cab. strolled off the plane and into a cab and rode off to the next phase of his life. So, the Boston Globe had details of this. Devers homered in his last game as a member of the Red Sox, helping them beat the Yankees. He told reporters afterwards that his issues with the team were in the past, then boarded the team bus to Logan Airport. Then it got awkward. The traveling party was on the plane when the trade was finalized. Takeoff was delayed as Devers left the plane and returned to Fenway to collect his belongings, to which I would say to the Globe, in a cab. It was a full circle moment for Devers. This is where the details get interesting. And this is where the smear campaign begins from the Red Sox. The Globe writes, in 2014, the Red Sox decided to move him from the Dominican Summer League to the Gulf Coast League in Florida. But officials at the Red Sox Academy learned the 17-year-old Devers had spent the night before his flight partying with teammates. The plane was stopped while taxiing, and Devers was taken off. He had to wait a few more weeks before making his debut in the United States. This time, he was leaving the only organization he knew. Guys, that's a joke, all right? Why don't you stick to the stuff that we should be going Devers after? Should be going at him for. Which is, he's a bad teammate, he won't help the team, he won't play first base, all of that stuff. Why are we now all of a sudden handing out details to the media about Rafael Devers when he was 17 getting kicked off a flight from the Dominican Summer League to the Gulf Coast League? Give me a break. What a 17-year-old kid, the night before he leaves the island for the first time, in a huge moment for any player coming out of the academy. That's what those guys live for. It is the dream to leave the DR and come to the United States to try to pursue a baseball career. That is one of the largest cultural things on the island. And you kick him off the team plane for partying with his teammates the night before. Give me a break. And more importantly, I don't know what the details were. Maybe he's getting sick on the plane and they couldn't take off and they're like, dude, you got to get off. Like we can't fly with you in this state. I don't know what that is. But why are we finding out about it now? Give me a break with that.
PR spin. I appreciate you calling that out.
All of a sudden, we're smearing the guy for what he did when he was 17. Give me a break with that. I'm sure he was a dumbass kid who was drunk out of his mind and maybe was getting sick on the plane, whatever it is. Those details are completely and totally irrelevant to what the 28-year-old guy, man, human being, grown-ass man, even though he's a child, that is so completely different than what he was doing back then. Focus on the stuff now. But they need to find every single detail to smear him on the way out the door. That's unfair. Everything else, fair game. Why don't you focus on that stuff? Why don't you focus on how he's a bad teammate? Why don't you focus on the problems he caused? Why don't you focus on the fact that he's getting paid $313 million and doesn't want to help the team? Why are you now all of a sudden trying to direct our attention to what he did when he was 17?
That token
when nobody had ever heard about it before, for good reason, because in the end it doesn't matter.
The token throwing crap against the wall and seeing what sticks. The debunking of the reporting of the Christian Campbell first base fiasco and giving him a tizzy. I also thought that reporting was kind of an eyebrow raiser and kind of awkward thing to kind of be upset over. So I do believe Christian Campbell and Devers, when you hear it from the horse's mouth, that was something that was just made up as well.
And Passen said so in his story, which is great. And this is now kind of the story of record on Rafael Devers, and we're going to be breaking it down all day long. 617-779-0985. But to you, I've neglected the people. I apologize. Raul in Haverhill. Raul.
How we doing, man? So yesterday we talked slightly about the Dominican players and me being a little bit of, but listen, these translators don't do a good job in telling you guys exactly like what the players are saying. And I feel like the translator, because they have relationships with the players, if they hear something that sounds a little bit off, they kind of rectify that. So Rafael Devers said in Spanish, he's like, okay, si me habían preguntado en spring training, yo creo. That means he said, okay, if they would have asked me in spring training, I think I would have agreed to play first base. Bro, seeing how he's been lately, he would have said, we already got a first baseman in Tristan Casas. I'm a third baseman, and I'm a DH. I don't think he would have agreed to do that at all. So this whole thing of the translator saying, oh, yeah, he said that he would have picked it up if the Red Sox asked him in spring training, there's no way. He's covering up for Devers there. Don't defend him. I'm Team Red Sox on this one.
Interesting, Raul. Thank you, because I've heard, and I do not speak Spanish. I can barely speak English. You know that. So, but I've heard people, Raul, who can speak Spanish, say stuff along these lines that in these Devers press conferences, some stuff gets lost in translation, and it does, give Devers a little bit of plausible deniability. It creates issues, and listen, it's just the way it is, and I'm not going to make a big deal out of it because in the end, the words really don't matter. It's about the actions. And Devers flat out refused to play first base here. So what Devers says, we're going to break it down. Of course we are, but it all comes back to one thing, and I think this is kind of Raul's point, and it's good stuff from him. It's like, you think this guy was going to play first base? He can try to spin it all he wants through a translator yesterday or through Jeff Passen and his people or through, Devers' folks. Again, from Jeff Passen, Rafael Devers is going to play first base for the San Francisco Giants. Maybe not this weekend, but it will happen soon. And as much as those in the anti-Devers camp point to the double standard, one person close to him said there's another takeaway to glean. Quote, sometimes it's not the message, it's how the message is delivered. BS. BS. He wasn't going to do it here because he didn't like the team, because the team hurt his ego. Plain and simple.
Yeah, and he's kind of embodied this diva attitude, cultivated over his decade of experience over here and being this young phenom. But yeah, he would have assuredly told Brezlo to kick rocks and to do his job, which he did, quote unquote, say this early in the season. So I think that would have been kind of the more of the glaring response. Oh, you want me to play first base because you don't have anything behind Casas or we have Casas? Or what are we doing? Well, why am I should be playing third base.
Guy's a putz. And I defend them not wanting him. I don't defend how they went about it. We'll get into that. 617-779-0985. We continue. I see on the line. I'll take care of you. It's McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
You're listening to Matt McCarthy. You're listening to Matt McCarthy. Give the guy a call.
617-779-0985.
Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
Ya eso quedó en el pasado, como le dije, ya eso son decisiones que yo no la controlaba, eso son decisiones del equipo y eso para mí quedó en el pasado.
That's in the past. Those are not decisions that I control, and that's I'm living that in the past right now.
It's all in the past. All in the past for Rafael Devers. Not here. This trade is going to hang over this franchise for a long, long time. Certainly for the rest of this year. And the question now becomes, do they reallocate the money? Which, I mean, come on. They're not going to do.
We don't trust them to do that.
Not in a $250 million sense. If they do, I'll give them all the credit in the world. It's like, okay, so that trade really was done for the right reason. And the right reason was you needed to get Rafael Devers the hell out of here. And I can make that argument. I have made that argument for the last week. But San Francisco taking the money back was the reason why this deal happened. And the owner of the San Francisco Giants, Greg Johnson, said as much. He said, we would not have made this deal happen if we had not have taken the money. It's why the deal went down. He called John Henry. He knew the Red Sox motivations were getting out of the contract because things had gotten personal between Henry and Devers. I actually don't entirely fault Henry for things getting personal. He made Rafael Devers the highest paid player in the history of the franchise. And Devers did nothing but thumb his nose at him. You'd get pissed off too. Now, you can say, good business, it's nothing personal, it's strictly business. Good businessmen, don't get derailed by that. So you've got an argument to make there for sure. But though this thing got personal, there is no doubt about it. Personal, personal, personal. 617-779-0985. Heath is in Maine. Yeah. Hi, Heath.
Hi, McCarthy. Love hearing you on the weekend.
Thanks, man.
Did you see the awful announcement article put out yesterday about Passen's reporting? The Twitter account, MLB Scoops, who put out the initial report of Devers being mad at Campbell, doubled down on their take after Passen called it a falsehood and accused Passen of playing politics to swoon Devers over to his side for more insider info. And Passen's response was essentially, "You're clowns, and you need to delete your Twitter and get out of the reporting game." I'll hang up and listen.
I did not see that. Milliken did mention something about that last night, and Passen goes straight at it in this story that the stuff about Campbell was not real. He basically took a shot at the stuff that June Lee has done this year. I'll find this. It's somewhere here in my 13 pages. Look at the amount of highlights I have in my 13 pages here, George.
Show prep 101, baby.
Nobody more prepared than me, obviously. Here we go. This is why you highlight and circle things. With Boston fans frothing to consume any nugget that reinforces their belief in Brezlo's incompetence, the discussion around the Devers deal has devolved into falsehoods taking root. There are small ones, like Devers being mad at Campbell for volunteering to play first base. He wasn't mad, multiple sources said, and bigger ones, like the report claiming that a person who interviewed with the Red Sox for a baseball operations job went through 5 rounds of AI-only questions. So Passen debunking that, or going after June Lee's reporting in this piece. So take whichever side you want. I'd say Passen generally is pretty damn good at this stuff. How about Bob in the car? Hey, Bob.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
No, I was just saying, Devers, they must have known when he was 17, if they had to throw him off the bus, that they shouldn't have given him the contract they gave him. Like, don't they have people? This is $1 billion corporation. Wouldn't they have someone that, like, looks at, like, attitude issues with the players and stuff and seen this coming?
Yeah, I mean, it's not what he did when he was 17, partying with teammates and getting kicked off the plane when they're going to fly him to Florida to join the Florida Gulf Coast League. It has nothing to do with what he was doing at 17. Any organization would be idiotic to make a decision 10 years later based on what he did when he was 17. How about just focus on the last few years, though? The guy was never interested in being a leader and, doesn't do... I believe the reporting that he doesn't do the team stuff. He doesn't want to be bothered with any of this stuff. So that's fine. You just have to take that into consideration when you're signing the player. And you can sign a guy to a $313 million contract and not expect him to be a leader, so long as you approach it that way. But the Red Sox have determined that they want their $313 million player to be a leader, which is not unreasonable, but it was unreasonable to expect Rafael Devers to do that. So it brings me back to the Mookie Betts decision. Mookie Betts was a leader. Mookie Betts was the guy who did the charity stuff, was the guy who was a good presence for young players, would do anything the team would ask him. George, if the Red Sox asked Mookie Betts to play second base, do you think Mookie Betts would play second base?
In a second.
Shortstop?
Short.
Center field?
I'm trying to be fantastic. Right
field.
Down the middle.
They asked Mookie Betts to play freaking first base. He would play first base. Not that you should, because he's a middle infield, outfield type. He's such a great athlete. I wouldn't want to waste that at first base. But he will play anywhere. Yeah. Anywhere the team asks him to play. So if they did truly value that stuff, it's inconsistent of them to say, well, we care about it now, and that's one of the reasons we're justifying getting rid of the guy. Well, why didn't you care about it when you had one of those people in the organization? Devers is not that guy.
Where's the alignment?
It's not that guy. 617-779-0985. Passen has reporting on the folks in the organization who did not want to sign Devers. We'll get into that and your calls. I see you. One open line. Grab it. Quick update. No commercials here. Right back to you.
If you guys had not been willing to take on the entire thing, do you think you're introducing Rafael Devers today?
No.
From the Telstra Tire Studios, WBZ-FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Paisley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox send Brian Bayo to the mound this afternoon against Rafael Devers and the Giants. First pitch 4:05. Lineup is out. Duran DHing today, leading off, followed by Toro at first, Anthony in left, Story, Abreu, Rafaela moving up in the lineup, batting sixth. Meyer, Wong, and Hamilton rounding out the starting nine for Alex Cora. A few pregame notes. Cutter Crawford shut down again. He's feeling some more pain in his wrist. He's going to head to Boston for an MRI. Meanwhile, Jordan Hicks, one of the pitchers they got for Devers, starting a rehab assignment tomorrow in Worcester. He's expected to join the Red Sox on their next homestand. Patriots signing fourth-round pick Craig Woodson yesterday. Second-round pick Travion Henderson, the only unsigned pick left for the Pats. NBA Finals Game 7 set for tomorrow night. Golf third-round action at the Travelers Championship today in Connecticut. Leaders just getting on the course now. Tommy Fleetwood entering today at 10 under par in the lead. Scotty Scheffler 3 off the lead. Massachusetts Pirates play Tulsa tonight, 7 o'clock on 98.5 HD2. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub, your next update, 30 minutes.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today. You're listening to Matt McCarthy.
This is brutal.
On Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hopefully this will be helpful for the future, because so far, Mookie Betts did not leave happy. Bad trade. John Lester did not leave happy. Bad trade as well. Everyone, Chris Sale did not leave happy. Everybody is like looking around to see what's going on with Boston. And we went from probably being the most, I would say, lovable team in the last 20 years to probably one of the teams that everybody's going to be looking at in the future and saying, if they treated Devers, if they treated Chris Sale that way, if they disrespected John Lester, free agents are going to really be looking at Boston in a different way. And that's what I'm concerned, that the culture that we left, Pedroia, Papi, Manny, all of us, Tech, all of those great players that went through the organization, it's going to disappear. And people are going to start looking at Boston as a bad organization or an organization that doesn't respect the players. And that I would hate to see, because we went from being one of the most popular teams in the last 25 years to probably be one of the most hated team in all of baseball, and I don't want to see that.
Problems of repeatedly trading away players. I did ask Sam Kennedy about this, George, in my heroic effort to get on a media Zoom call and ask questions of the Red Sox.
God's work.
Thank you. I agree. Thank you for recognizing my role, my contributions to society and our city.
You are a people's champion.
I am. Thank you. I'm a hero. I'm glad you're acknowledging how great I am for asking questions of Red Sox ownership. And I did ask about the culture. After Sam Kennedy went through the whole thing about 24 years, I said, hey, Sam, Lester, Betts, Devers, Chris Sale, David Price, all these guys you've traded or let walk in the last 10 years, Xander Bogaerts, are you concerned about this becoming a part of the culture? And he then doubled down on 24 years after that and, kissed the ring and all that stuff. But Pedro's right. This is hurting their culture. It's hurting the fan base. It's hurting their reputation around the game. And I think the Red Sox are right when they say that every move is different. It's actually the first thing that Sam said to me the other day, and I think he was actually spot on about it. And I don't think people gave him the credit for that he deserved, because the Devers situation is different than the Mookie Betts situation. Mookie Betts, they determined, for whatever reason, business reasons only, that they were never going to pay. It had nothing to do with the person that Mookie Betts was and all of that. Whereas the Devers stuff, they did make a business decision to pay Rafael Devers, and then things got personal, and they used the personal animus as an excuse to get out of the contract. The Devers thing was personal, the Betts thing was business, but they both got them wrong. Completely and totally wrong. And the organizational factors that keep leading to this is the Red Sox are dysfunctional. And they keep chasing their mistakes. Passen wrote, after carrying the highest payroll in Major League Baseball in 2018 and 2019, owner John Henry tightened the purse strings. And when Betts was shipped out in 2020 and longtime shortstop Xander Bogaerts followed him west to sign as a free agent with San Diego for $280 million, $100 million plus more than Boston's final offer, the restlessness of Red Sox fans hit overdrive. Save for a surprising run to the American League Championship Series in 2021, mediocrity had become a Red Sox norm. The days of Poppy and Manny and Pedro were nearly 2 decades in the rearview. Devers was their lone, homegrown, everyday player. He represented an opportunity for the Red Sox to illustrate they remain dedicated to the now as much as the future. Making moves to mollify restless fans is a hallmark of bad organizations. But with declining viewership on NESN and empty seats at Fenway, ownership pushed to lock up Devers long term. Multiple high-ranking officials in the baseball operations department opposed the idea. They were overruled.
Sounds about right.
Yep. Dysfunction, dysfunction, dysfunction. Oh, God, we screwed up on Mookie Betts. We can't make the same thing with Devers. We can't make the same mistake with Devers. And as a result, you end up making a different mistake with Devers. You gave the money to the wrong person. The guy's a poison. And he's a child, and he's a baby. And Mookie Betts was none of those things. You paid the wrong guy. And they continuously do this thing because they are dysfunctional. That's the takeaway. 617-779-0985. How about Nick in Plymouth? Hey, Nick.
Hey, guys. I'm sorry if I haven't heard this, but we're talking about business, talking about how everything goes on because of the business needs. I didn't hear anything come from the agent. I didn't hear anything from the business side of the contract. Isn't there something in the contract that would basically say, hey, we're signing you as a baseball player. Yes, we want you to play DH, but when it comes down to it, your contract and guidance says you can play anywhere on the field that we tell you to. Is there nothing that could have been done in terms of contracts, even to the point that they say something? And I know they're not going to go to court for it or anything, but nothing was said from even the agent side about, hey, my guy, he's only due to play this position because that's what he signed for.
Yeah, I'm sure there was no language in the contract that said that, Nick. I'm not an attorney, but I'll tell you that type of stuff just doesn't. I've never really encountered anything like that. The only situation that really comes to the top of my mind, Nick, is Alfonso Soriano in the mid-2000s, where he was traded to the Nationals, and the Nationals wanted to move him from second base to left field. You remember this, George?
I certainly do.
And that was a whole thing. And, I mean, the Nationals were a dumpster fire at that point, and it was a disaster. I mean, they just moved from Montreal, and they trade for Soriano, and they want to move Soriano to the outfield, and Soriano refuses. I think basically the Nationals just started to threaten him at that point, basically saying, and this would not be the term, again, my brother's the attorney, I'm the idiot who does sports talk radio. But, you know, they can pursue the player and they can go after the player, but it's not worth it. It wouldn't have been worth it to the Red Sox to, you know, go at Devers for conduct detrimental to the team, right? I mean, that's, you know, I think about the Terrell Owens thing in the NFL. You suspend a player for conduct detrimental to the team. You're only going to hurt your trade value even more.
That was a sideshow.
While you may have the mechanisms to do that, the mechanisms are not realistic. They don't apply to the real world, because if you go after Devers for that thing and you suspend him and you try and take the money away and this and that, you're going to get players' union grievances, and you're going to end up having to trade the guy anyway, and you're going to get even less than the garbage you got in return from him in the first place.
Plus the tarnished image that reputation the Red Sox are sadly earning now.
It's not worth it. So could the Red Sox have forced him to do it? Yeah, they probably could have forced him to do it, but he made the thing so uncomfortable and so untenable in the first place that this is how we got to here. The crazy thing about all of this is position changes in baseball generally have some level of drama to it, but in the end, they work themselves out because guys get paid, and that's just the way it is. You know, Miguel Cabrera moved from first to third, and he did all of that throughout his career. There are a million examples of this.
Pujols, George Brett.
Pujols, John Valentin back in the day, and that was a thing that blew up. Nomar's coming up, and they moved my guy, Johnny Valentin, off shortstop. I love John Valentin.
Yeah, Offerman played first base. Yeah.
Jose Offerman. I will never forget. 9-year-old Matt McCarthy went to however old I was. It was a Red Sox autograph signing at the Cambridge Side Galleria. Mo Vaughn was my hero growing up. He was my idol. He signs in Anaheim. It really is my villain origin story as to why I am the miserable person that I am today. It's because I was heartbroken that Mo Vaughn left for the Anaheim Angels.
It's not personal, just business.
No, and that's how I found out how callous and cruel the world is, and it's a dark, dreadful place, and nothing ever truly works out. It's all because Mo left for Anaheim. But I went to an autograph signing at the Cambridge Side Galleria, and there was Jimmy Williams, and sitting next to him was Jim Corsi and Lou Merloni. And I asked Jimmy Williams, I go up to Jimmy Williams, little fat Matt McCarthy. I'm like, who's going to play first base now? And he says to me, well, we have a lot of options. I can have Jose Offerman play first base. And I was like, screw you, Jimmy Williams. And Lou Merloni chimes in, team player Lou Merloni, sitting next to him, says, hey, Skip, I can play first if you need me to. And I looked at Lou Merloni with daggers in my eyes, and I was like, you are a utility infielder. You are not Mo Vaughn. Don't patronize me like this, Lou. Don't do this to me. This is childhood trauma. I'm not over it yet.
I love Lou Merloni as the second guy, as the color guy for these games. Now
He's done a great job.
Yeah, he isn't on the road trip now, but yeah.
He's doing radio.
Yeah,
he's done a good job.
I co-sign on Merloni every time I hear him as the color guy. That's who I want to replace Remy ultimately.
But he hurt Matt McCarthy by saying, you know what? I was like Rafael Devers. Lou Merloni offered and volunteered to help the team and play first base, and I said, no. You're not Mo Vaughn. You're not my guy. 617-779-0985. The Craig Brezlo stuff in this story, we got to get to it. We'll get to it next. Why does the organization keep doing this?
More Matt McCarthy on the way on the Sports. Matt McCarthy.
I'm going after everybody.
They say off the air he's a nice guy.
And there will be no mercy.
But you know otherwise. It's Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
Okay, Craig, I just wanted to ask, you said kind of repeatedly this year that everything you've been doing in terms of moves and everything was with this year in mind. Just wanted you to explain like how this move kind of helps the team for this season.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I understand why the initial reaction would be that it'd be tough to sit here and say when you move a player of Rafi's caliber, when you take that bat out of the lineup, how could I sit here and say that we're a better team? And I acknowledge that. Kind of on paper, we're not going to have the same lineup that that we did, but this isn't about the game that is played on paper. This is about the game that's played on the field, and ultimately about winning the most games that we can. And in order to do that, trying to put together the most functional and complete team that we can. And so, I think when you consider the flexibility, the ability to give some of the young players some run, the opportunity to maybe repackage some of the resources and fill some voids in the roster as early as, approaching this year's deadline, and being really intentional about the environment that we create for these young players to thrive in, then I do think that there is a real chance that at the end of the season, we're looking back and we've won more games than we otherwise would have.
Do you believe it? You believe anything Craig Brezlo says?
He talks too much for my liking, and I never would have thought that he would be worse than Bloom. When I hear him speak, he does not sound like a former player whatsoever. And, it's one of those when you think you're the smartest guy in the room, but then everybody else is kind of shaking their head. I just don't know what to make of Brezlo. I don't know if I want to wait out this prodigy, inexperienced GM to blossom into something, better.
So he is a better general manager than Bloom. He's bolder. He's more aggressive. No way Hein Bloom trades for Garrett Crochet. Not a chance. But his interpersonal skills somehow may be even worse. And I think that's the story here. I talked about this with Milliken last night. And by the way, the Red Sox are screwing things up, and the analysts are screwing things up when Tyler Milliken starts to turn on you. And that's what's happening. Milliken is growing up in front of our eyes, ladies and gentlemen.
God bless the millimissile.
He's bailing. He's bailing on the analysts. When the robots lose Milliken, I mean, it's really it's like Nixon losing Cronkite at the height of Vietnam, right?
I blame you and Maz. That influence is just you can't take you and Maz and be in the middle of that and not get some of that influence.
We've corrupted him. We've corrupted the nice, kind, smart, wonderful young man. We'll turn him into a monster before you know it. But the Brezlo thing is becoming apparent. This guy is a problem, and I don't think he's a bad general manager from a purely baseball decision. How can I come in? I've been saying this for weeks now because I think it's true. How can I come in and say Craig Brezlo is awful at his job when in one offseason, he trades for an ace, trades for a starting catcher who might be an all-star, signs an MVP candidate, and signs a closer? He had himself a good offseason in that regard. It's the other stuff. The personal stuff. The backroom stuff. The relationships, the politics needed to do that job effectively. That he can't do.
Especially in a big market like Boston. We're going to eat him alive.
That's the primary takeaway. So I will say this. I think Brezlo is not the type of general manager, and I'll give him credit for this. I don't think he listens to sports talk radio and listens to the fans and lets us determine what he should or should not do. That is a good trait to have. Sam Kennedy calls him bold. I do think his moves have been bold. A lot of general managers would not have traded Kyle Teal for Garrett Crochet and then extended him. That required, you stuck his neck out there a little bit. That required something. So he does have those traits. It's the other stuff. It's the politics that I'm not sure he can do. That's the primary takeaway. If you want to circle in on one thing and hone in on one thing in this Passen story, it's the Brezlo angle to it. And then we can talk about who the turncoats are in the organization. But this from Passen. Early in Brezlo's tenure as chief baseball officer, he hired a consulting firm called Sportsology Group to assess Boston's baseball operations department. The wide-ranging evaluation was something out of Office Space, an attempt to cut the fat accumulated while Boston cycled through heads of baseball ops. Craig Brezlo brought in the nerd bobs. Not just the bobs, the nerd bobs. Sportsology. The consultants, the analysts, who are in there for one reason and one reason only, and that's to fire all of you people. We're going to bring you in, we're going to sit you down, and we're going to ask you, so what would you say you do here? That thing? He's bringing in the people to send Milton to the basement. Going after Michael Bolton and Samir, not going to work here anymore. He brought in those guys, and they started purging everybody. Craig Brezlo is a vengeful, power-hungry nerd. They're not all the same. But I often find that sometimes these analysts and these nerds are the most power-hungry people in baseball. Vengeful, I tell you, vengeful. Passen continues. Any objective assessment would note that perhaps the problems originated with organizational instability, that the Red Sox had grown bloated, in part at least because they so often made changes. Regardless of how it came to be, the recommendations included the elimination of jobs across multiple departments. Around 50 people were fired last year, sources said. Brezlo's the new guy who comes in and fires 50 people. It's not going to make you a popular guy. Passen continues, the professional scouting department was gutted. Some of the positions wound up being filled, but it was clear to those who stayed and went, this was Brezlo's team, and he would now remake it in his own image. Since the cuts, Brezlo's circle of trust has been small, and his reliance on the team's analytical model heavy, according to sources, leaving some longtime employees embittered. Brezlo loyalists fear the consequences of that, with one saying, quote, there are definitely turncoats internally plotting against Brez. Unquote. Internal fights, internal struggles, people getting fired, Brezlo seizing power for himself, people opposing him, people on the inside, probably in the front office, and I assume on the coaching staff, plotting against Brezlo, Brezlo plotting against them. This is the ultimate sign of dysfunction. Here's the thing, George. I don't disagree with the assessment that the Red Sox probably needed a purge. Over the course of 20 years, they have had Theo Epstein, Ben Cherington, Dave Dumbrosski, Chaim Bloom, and now Craig Brezlo. That's over the course of the last 14 years. You've had 5 general managers. There are going to be holdovers. There are going to be inefficiencies. There are going to be people who are loyal to some people and people who are loyal to other people and people who have been passed over and people who have been slighted and all of that stuff. So, yes, you probably do need, for the health and the sake of the organization, you probably do need a general manager who is empowered and is probably a little bit isolated. The last time the Red Sox were successful, they had a general manager who was empowered. Dave Dumbrosski was the boss. And as Jimmy Stewart pointed out yesterday, and it's true, Dave Dumbrosski reported directly to John Henry. He did not report to Sam Kennedy. So you introduce the business side of things with the front office side of things with general managers who haven't been empowered and a manager who's probably more empowered than a lot of managers in baseball. You have clashes, you have disagreements, you have palace coups, you have all of this stuff. So you bring in a general manager and you're probably trying to empower him. The problem is that guy does not have what it takes to command the respect of the organization and to get people believing in the direction of what you're doing when he's firing your colleagues. That is a very hard thing to do. Very hard.
Yeah, tough balancing act to empower somebody, but kind of be embracing of that debate and kind of inner struggle and then managing through that. I would say one man that I think the Red Sox are missing and have been missing, the man upstairs, Larry Lucchino. Having somebody as him and hopefully Theo Epstein can kind of be this liaison. And I think that's what we had hoped, when we knew that he was coming back with the Fenway Sports Group, kind of be like a an overseer, a mediator when it came to a babysitter, so to speak, for Brezlo and his inexperience and his staff. That's where we are. Sadly, I think he is lacking the experience to kind of command the room and for his vision and all that assertiveness and empowerment. I think this is more along the lines of power trip and stupidity to not be able to get back what they got, but complete salary dump is what it was. That's the defense on the Red Sox side. They got out of the contract for the Devers, and the return is really inconsequential.
The Theo thing is interesting. You want Theo to be. It certainly seems like he is a consigliere to Brezlo. He's an advisor to Brezlo, which is maybe where some of the bold baseball decisions are coming from. Maybe Brezlo leaning on Theo and using his expertise. But Theo is not a Larry Lucchino type figure in this organization. I wish he were, but I don't think Theo is interested in being that. I would say, though, and I love Theo, and nobody, put it this way, there is nobody associated with the Boston Red Sox that I have more faith in than Theo Epstein.
Next commissioner of the league.
I think Chaim Bloom was a Theo recommendation. I think Craig Brezlo was a Theo recommendation. A lot of Theo's underlings, the guys underneath him, like, do you want Jed Hoyer running your baseball team? I'm not convinced. A lot of the guys who have come up, do you want Ben Cherington running your baseball team? That's a Theo guy. A lot of the Theo guys, the handpick Theo guys, they're not Theo. Theo's a general manager tree. I'm not saying it's Belichickian, but it's not great. It's not great. So keep that in mind. But the Brezlo stuff, all you need to know about how people think about Brezlo is the great nugget that we've gotten about the scouting guy, Craig Moshe, who at the end of a Zoom call says, "Thanks, Brez, you effing stiff." That effing stiff is the guy that you've put in charge and you're trying to empower and is in charge of the purge and is in charge of building something, and you need people to be in line with him. He probably doesn't have the skills or the charisma or the personal stuff or the ability to play the politics that you need to navigate a very delicate situation like that, coming in and firing a whole bunch of people and rebuilding an organization in your image. Dave Dumbrosski could do it. I don't know actually how many people Dave Dumbrosski fired, but I know Dave Dumbrosski basically seized all power in the organization and was very insulated, and it was Dumbrosski and Frank Wren and Tony La Russa, and that was it, and basically nobody else in the organization had power. And it feels like Brezlo's doing kind of the same thing. All the reports, and Passen says it, he's becoming very insulated. Since the cuts, Brezlo's circle of trust has been small and his reliance on the team's analytical model heavy, according to sources, leaving some longtime employees embittered. Who are those longtime employees? I can speculate. It's not reported here. But the folks who have been here for 20 years under 5 general managers. The Eddie Romeros, the Brian O'Hallorans, the folks like that, the Cora side of things. Where do I think this stuff comes from? The Brezlo stuff? Cora. The Cora side of things.
Still personal.
It's all personal. It's nothing personal, strictly business. Everything is personal over on Jersey Street. It's why Devers is gone. It's why you're getting smear campaigns left and right. I'm not here for as a Red Sox fan, but I'm here for it as a sports talk radio host. This Passen thing is gold. One open line. Grab it. 617-779-0985. I'll go to you next, I promise. It's McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
Stay tuned for more Matt McCarthy.
play, Renfro.
Hot takes.
This team blows.
And passion advice.
Shave your mustache, dude. It sucks.
Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
Yeah, and like I said, we're not gonna DH Roman every day. We have to stay disciplined with the development, right? And for him to play defense and take care of Jaron, it makes sense.
Did he fight that? I mean, I don't think he's DH since 23, and he obviously likes to be out there. But
I think we had a conversation right before the Yankee series, kind of like the lefties and all this stuff. Obviously, the roster has changed, but we're gonna pick and choose, and we're gonna move everybody around, and he's on board. Jaron is one of the leaders of this team, and he understands what we are trying to accomplish, and if he needs a day off or we have to DH him, he understands why.
So just real quick, something to monitor here moving forward before we get back to the calls on Devers. Red Sox lineup out today. Jarren Duran DHing. Roman Anthony in left field. I'm guessing Anthony is going to sit tomorrow because there's a lefty going. But this is something to monitor. With Abreu back, you're not moving him out of right field. So what happens with Roman Anthony? And what happens with Jarren Duran? My sense is the Red Sox are going to rotate Anthony and Duran at DH. And how does Jarren Duran handle that? I don't think he's going to handle it in a way that's going to hurt the team at all.
Devers-esque.
He's not going to be Rafael Devers about this. But it is a sign of the things to come. Some people they haven't quite wrapped their heads around this yet. I've been saying this for a long time. Jarren Duran's not a part of your future, folks. He's not. Roman Anthony is the left fielder of the future. Duran has regressed defensively this year. He has regressed offensively this year. He's not the player he was last year. They probably missed a chance to sell as high on him as they possibly could have this past offseason. If the Red Sox fall out of it, and right now it does not look like they're going to fall out of it. They're playing good baseball. But if the Red Sox fall out of it and are sellers at the deadline, I bet you Duran goes. I bet you he goes in the offseason. But it's just something to monitor. Anthony batting third, playing left field tonight. They're going to rotate those two. And Anthony is not a great defensive outfielder. But he's not going to kill you out there. He's a left fielder. He'll be the left fielder of the future at Fenway Park. So what does this mean for Jarren Duran? Because Rafael is playing really well right now. Had a great night at the plate last night. Is undeniably your best defender. So you don't ideally want to take him out of center field every day of the week. So this is something to monitor, something to look out for sure. 617-779-0985. To you again. How about John in Woburn? Hey, John.
Hey, how we doing, sir?
How you doing,
I'm
John?
calling about Devers. I don't know exactly what we're doing, trading the best lefty hitter in the game. And now I'm hearing we're on the market for a hitter.
John, did you just say Rafael Devers is the best left-handed hitter in baseball?
Are you kidding me?
Have you ever heard of Shohei Ohtani? Do you know who he is?
I mean, obviously, but look, best lefty in terms of this guy can compete with anyone on the mound. You understand? I do know what you're saying. You can't.
So you're unhappy about the trade. I get that.
I'm very unhappy about it. I don't know if I go as Williamsport or to the World Series.
What is he talking about?
I'm uncertain where he jumped off. I'm just going to
move on from
World
that.
Series reference.
Listen, Rafael Devers is a really, really, really good player. He's a really good hitter. Let's not call him the best left-handed hitter in baseball. Like that's obvious. I mean, the face of baseball, maybe the greatest player ever in Shohei Ohtani. Come on, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Not go that far. I just watched the Devers at bat again. I just tweeted it out. Chapman versus Devers last night. Oh, that is if we weren't on YouTube right now, George, I would not be wearing pants in this studio.
It was a heavyweight showdown there at the ninth inning.
This thing, I've watched it over and over again. So Chapman I'm going to watch it again live. If
did you notice the final out, the little skirmish with Wilmer Flores and stuff at the end? I'm not sure
Chapman's
what that was
been great.
all about.
So he goes up and in with a fastball. Devers swings. He goes up and in even more, brushes him back. 1-1, spins a beautiful slider, makes Devers look like a fool. Then goes fastball up top at 102, fastball up top 102 again to blow him away. What an at-bat. That was baseball last night. That was worth staying up for.
Yeah, something
power on power.
Yeah, just
great.
Did not have that expectation for Chapman. My God, 102. He was really dialing back. Very Garrett Crochet-esque too, kind of reaching back for stuff. With the Judge at bat.
We've had good moments, like good matchups in the last week. Crochet against Judge in the 9th inning. They come win the game. Devers against Chapman last night. It's great.
If the 2025 Red Sox are to have a season, a lot of it is going to be predicated on this pitching staff carrying the load, because offensively it's a joke. I mean, there's holes throughout the lineup of plenty. To DH point, I would expect Roman Anthony to platoon a little bit more at DH than Duran. I understand the blow for today and probably setting himself up, for a lefty day off. But it does open up the DH position and kind of platoon it around for Cora, more flexibility for the roster. Something that wasn't happening when Devers was here a week ago.
We're overrating Duran as a defender. I have no problem if Anthony is playing left field 70% of the time.
Oh,
Duran should DH. He's not a good defender. He's not.
Anthony in left field than right, especially at Fenway.
Roman Anthony's not a right fielder at Fenway Park.
Yeah, I know.
Roman Anthony is never going to be a Gold Glove outfielder.
Do you take any issue in how the Red Sox have kind of ushered these young guys up? I mean, with Campbell, it's kind of in spring training was kind of like, oh, well, we need a second baseman. We want a drive line stat and put a trophy up for you. We're going to ink you up. We love you. And, that. There's one there, but then Anthony, he came up with the Willie Abreu injury. If Abreu wasn't injured, are we even seeing Roman Anthony? What was the holdup there? And then the same thing with Meyer at the Bregman stuff. And they're all playing out of position. So, I did want to ask you about do you have any problem with the approach and how the Red Sox are ushering these prospects in?
I do. I hated putting Anthony in right field at Fenway Park. That's not fair to him.
Yeah.
I hate what they did to Campbell. We're going to get to that in the next segment. The way they approach Campbell, because there's reporting on that and news coming out of Worcester in the last few days. The Meyer stuff doesn't bother me as much. He's a shortstop. He can play third base. That kid can play anywhere in the infield.
Very polished.
He's very smooth. I mean, would I prefer him to be at shortstop? Yeah, but that's not it.
And Story's turned it on of late. As much as we've got on him, over the past month, Story has turned it on, and I'm no longer screaming off the mountaintop to DFA him. And he's a solid glove as well. You don't really have to worry about ground balls his way.
Let's go to Matt in Rhode Island. Hey, Matt.
Yeah, hey, guys. I can't remember when it was. It might have been a handful of years ago, but John Henry said something to the effect of, we can't spend on the players, on the payroll, because they got to pay everybody in the front office to expand all this. And now here they are firing 50 people. Maybe Brezlo is doing Henry's bidding and turning everything over to the box. It's just he's talking out of both sides of their mouth, just like they do with the player contracts and trying to correct their wrongs.
No doubt, Matt. Wall Street efficiency. That's what they want. They want Wall Street efficiency over there. And the decision-making, turning over to the bots, there is reporting from Jeff Passen on why Christian Campbell was playing second base for the Red Sox on opening day. If you haven't heard it, you're not going to believe it. Although you might believe it, but it's not going to make you happy. We'll do that next, and the reporting and the news on Campbell and what they need to do to get Campbell back on track, because I'm real concerned about what they've done to this kid. And I think sending him to Worcester was the right decision. We'll get into Christian Campbell coming up, 617-779-0985, because it turns out it all ties into Rafael Devers, according to Passen. I'll explain next.
You're listening to Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub. He's got the instructions you need.
Wrap that meat.
Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
Here we are today, sharing what I would call a massively significant moment for this organization, because Christian was not drafted in the first round. He wasn't a top prospect upon entering the organization. What he was a good player who made himself a great player because of his work ethic and diligence and open-mindedness and attitude. And so in many ways, he is a prime example of what's possible when great scouting meets great development around a player who prioritizes maximizing his potential over everything else. And so there are so many people in this organization who should feel particularly proud about their contributions to Christian's development, from our major league staff all the way down to hitting coaches in A-ball and the entire player development and scouting groups.
It gets worse and worse the more you hear it, and I know we've played it a bunch, but that's Craig Brezlo taking his pants off and pleasuring himself to the Christian Campbell contract extension, and the scouts and the nerds and the driveline and the analysts who turned this crappy baseball player into a star. He's going to be a star.
A little premature.
And it turns out he was not ready for the big leagues and has sucked. Was the worst second baseman in baseball from about, I don't know, the third week of April on, or whatever you have here. Once the league figured out how to pitch Christian Campbell, once they had about 3 weeks of data on the kid, and they knew they could go inside with him and attack him with fastballs and would totally confound him. Once they figured that out, he's been awful. He's been terrible. And I don't really put that on Christian Campbell. I put that on the team, because he wasn't ready. Maz said it day one. I said it day one. He was not ready. Was not ready. You could see it, the eye test. He wasn't close.
It's like they were ready to take that victory lap once he had the decent start of the season, right?
It was more than decent. It was really good. You see the talent. It jumps off the screen. The kid, the swing is violent and it's herky-jerky. And
it's Mookie Betts-esque, the swing. I don't want to jinx that, but
no,
the way he slaps that ball.
But they're convinced he's Mookie Betts. The answer is nobody's Mookie Betts. Very few people are Mookie Betts.
Generational talent.
Total generational talent. And here they are. And I heard the Mookie Betts comparisons last year. They kind of wanted to say, well, he might be Mookie Betts. He's got a lot of Mookie in him. So then they tried moving him around to different positions because, well, Mookie can do it, so Christian Campbell must be able to do it. And they did this all because the model said that Christian Campbell could do it. This from Jeff Passen. When Devers showed up at spring training, the team broached the idea of shifting him to designated hitter. Their computer model said the best version of the 2025 Red Sox would feature reigning minor league player of the year Christian Campbell at second base, Bregman at third, and Devers at DH. Devers was livid. The computer told them in January that Christian Campbell was the starting second baseman. And I said this during spring training. I said this at the end of spring training. They determined in January that Campbell was going to be their starting second baseman. End of story. Because Meyer was better than him in spring training. Meyer is a better fielder. He's more polished. And there were a couple of factors that led to Campbell getting the call over Meyer. One is the Red Sox had fallen in love with him. They had fallen in love with the swing data. They had fallen in love with the analytics surrounding Christian Campbell, and they were obsessed with him. This is their guy. And you heard Brezlo. It's basically the most human Brezlo has sounded, talking about his love and his infatuation of Christian Campbell. And it's all because they feel like they made him. We made this player. We crafted him in the lab. He is our gold standard. He is the golden child of the organization, Christian Campbell. And they ignored the fact that he wasn't ready. And they hurt him. They hurt the player. It was not fair to the player. Christian Campbell. George, I don't know if you heard this yesterday. Do you know how many games Christian Campbell, baseball games, Christian Campbell has played as an adult?
Yeah, less than 2 years of service time. He's been barely an adult, right?
College, summer baseball in college, minor leagues and major leagues. Christian Campbell has played 307 games. 307 baseball games as an adult. Across all levels, professional and amateur. 307 baseball games. No wonder he's not ready. 137 of those games in the minor leagues, 45 in college, 57 in the Northwoods League. George, have you heard of the Northwoods League?
And I'm a geographical nerd, so yeah, no. I could only guess Jersey, Minnesota. I have no idea where that would be.
I have no clue where the Northwoods League is. All I know is it's not the Cape Cod Baseball League. It's a step down from that. It's like the second or the third league. I'm a baseball guy. I worked on the Cape. I did that thing as a college kid. Born Braves represent. I did my summer on the Cape. I don't know where the Northwoods League is. 57 of his adult baseball games, 57 of the 307 were in the Northwoods League.
It's reminding me
not even the Cape.
It's reminding me a little bit of Trey Lance in the sense, and I don't want mixing sports here, but
no, it's true.
Somebody who's rushed through the system, and then you have all this high hopes for. And granted, he's a 4th-round pick, but yeah, these Red Sox, man, that's not the timetable and the time frame and the slice that you want to assess. Talent, and hopefully he does need some polish. You could see it clearly. The glove is just horrendous. On all levels. I hate when I see a ball go. There should be more errors charged to the Red Sox this year that they're not being charged to, as they lead the league in errors, by the way. So a little pet peeve of mine.
It's baseball negligence, what they did to the kid. It's awful. I feel terrible for him. He never, ever in a million years should have been up here, and they did it because of the data and the money, because they knew they could sign him. And that's why they made it happen. It's almost abusive, and I don't like using that term, but they have abused that kid from a development standpoint, and I hope he bounces back from it, because the talent is there. It jumps off the screen, but he's not ready. 307 games. So what he really needs is something I'm not convinced the Red Sox are capable of providing him, and that's coaching. I don't know if the Red Sox can coach this kid. They can analyze him. They can work on him, with launch data and, and all that, barrel rates and you name it. They can analyze that up and down. What this guy needs, George, is just an old school baseball coach stapled to his hip in Worcester to work on the fundamentals of the game, which he has never developed because he's never played baseball before. 307 games?
Inexperience, you think? I'd say yes to your point. More Jim Rice, less driveline.
That's exactly what they need with him, because he's got all the talent in the world. Jim Rice, the crusty old baseball guy named Pops, who can waddle out there, can barely walk, has a cigarette in one hand and a fungo bat in the other. That dude, the guy who, and if you've ever spent time around baseball, if you've ever spent time around the game, George, those guys are, a slice of life. Like, they are out there, and they've been littered throughout the minor leagues. The dude who's like, I faced Nolan Ryan twice, and Nolan Ryan buzzed me back once in 1981, and he'll tell you all about it. And that dude who's just going to go out there and hit 700 fungos at you with the intent of breaking your kneecaps on every single one of them. The crusty old baseball guy, the lifer, the guy who just won't retire because he doesn't want to go home. That dude. They need that guy to work with Christian Campbell, and all of those people have been purged, as we found out by Jeff Passen. From Jeff Passen, they've all been purged from the organization.
With all the pitching machines and ways for you to emulate the stuff from pitchers and stuff, I still enjoyed listening to the Pete Rose of the world, God rest his soul, Barry Bonds, A-Rod. Whenever they speak about hitting, my ears, it's just like a kid in a candy store.
Give me the guy who had to work construction back in the offseason, back in the day. That dude. To go out there and hit fungos at this guy and teach him how to play baseball, because they don't teach these kids how to play baseball. They teach them how to analyze their swings. And Christian Campbell was the golden child, was the poster child of it. And here's what you get. He's been one of the worst players in baseball since about 3 weeks into the season. I hope they didn't screw him up. He's going down to Worcester. He's going to learn how to play first base. There was video of it yesterday. It is a rough watch, man. It's a rough watch. The footwork is not there. But again, I don't put that on him. Who's coaching him? Who's teaching him how to play the baseball game the way that it should be? Come on. They don't have that guy. He doesn't exist. Where is Pops? Send Pops down to Worcester. But he's been purged. He's been sent to the baseball gulag by the nerds. 617-779-0985. Quick update, no commercials. Right back to you.
From the Telfair Tire Studios, WBZ FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Red Sox about to get underway with the Giants and Rafael Devers. Jarren Duran DHing today. Roman Anthony playing left field, batting third. Few notes pregame. Cutter Crawford shut down again. He's been feeling more pain in his wrist. He'll be sent back to Boston for an MRI, so not good news there on Crawford's potential return. Meanwhile, Jordan Hicks headed on a rehab assignment in Worcester tomorrow. He's expected to join the Red Sox on the next homestand. Patriots yesterday signed fourth-round pick Craig Woodson. Second-round pick Travion Henderson remains the only unsigned pick in the organization. NBA Finals Game 7 set for tomorrow night. Golf at the Travelers Championship. Tommy Fleetwood now 3 under on the day through 8. He is 12 under to lead the tournament. Keegan Bradley, Russell Henley 2 shots back. Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas 3 shots off the lead. Scotty Scheffler at 7 under. And the Massachusetts Pirates are in action tonight against Tulsa. 7 o'clock kickoff here on 98.5 HD2. Headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-thru oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 5 o'clock.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app. You're listening to Matt McCarthy. Give the guy a call.
617-779-0985.
Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
I got my first real 6-string. Bought it at the 5 and dime. Played it till my fingers bled. Was the summer of 69.
Did I hear something? He's coming here this fall, right? Did I hear this yesterday?
I would have to look that up, yes. My goodness, me and Zoe.
It's on a Patriots Sunday. I think Mike Reese said he wants to go. He's going to go after the game. Pats are home. This will be a good show.
Good stuff.
I'm seeing Stapleton tonight.
Nice.
Alex Barth. You want to talk about somebody with some connections? We're going to see Stapleton. I think we're going to get the hell out of there before George Strait takes the stage, but
Barthy, sneaky good music fan.
Oh, no, it's not sneaky. That kid knows his stuff.
I heard him talking a little bit with Kendra earlier today, yeah. I can appreciate his taste.
So, yeah, that'll be a good time. Stapleton puts on a great show. That guy can sing. And then I've heard that many people are going tonight and are not planning on staying for the headlining act. Because, I mean, who wants to see George Strait? Oh, he's a legend, but
you and McCone, right?
No, McCone doesn't want to see George Strait. No. George Strait is an old school country guy. Nobody wants to see old school country before they pop-ified it up so it can be marketed to 29-year-old women from Braintree who think they're country. Nobody, none of that crowd wants to go see George Strait.
I'm down on
totally different scene.
I'm down on newer music to begin with. That's why they have to get these guys touring out, get the people back listening to the music. There isn't any good original stuff coming out now.
Stapleton, though, that guy is crazy talented. Elite singer. What a voice! What a voice live. One of the better voices I've heard live. So it should be a good time tonight. And then I will be the hell out of there before the headliner takes the stage. How about Danny and Quincy? What's up, Danny? How you doing, man?
McCarthyism.
How you doing?
I want to just okay. There was so many things when I was on hold. My God. First of all, you people in the media drove Dumbrosski out of town.
I drove Dumbrosski out of town. We did?
Yeah, well, you're part of the whole clan that you weren't happy that all he did was spend money, bring players in, free agents, get rid of the farm system, and win a championship, and now you say you want him back.
I never said I wanted him gone.
No, McCarthy.
Right.
Danny McCarthy has been on our side.
This was the pulse of Boston, but I didn't even call for that. Okay, I want to get to and by the way, Pedro, his comments don't apply to this team because there are no tenured, resumed, veteran players that could facilitate managing a baby like Devers on the team, like was on the team when he was playing with Manny Ramirez. Okay, Pedro, love you, mean it. You're sticking up for your Dominican brother, okay? No problem. But you're full of crap on this one. Okay, now, on the Mookie Betts thing, okay? And don't hang up on me, because I know there's a reason why I call you McCarthyism. You know?
I'll tell you what, you say don't hang up on me, I'm going to hang up on you right now, Danny. You got an hour, you got Danny, a minute and 15 seconds. Danny thinks he runs the show, doesn't he?
It's true. I do kind of co-sign what he's saying there. Now, I will defend Pedro a little bit in saying that, might not be a veteran on this team, obviously. That one doesn't exist. Devers is supposed to be the default leader here. That's why we're in this situation. We don't have the older brother to pick on him and tell him, but he was declining, Ortiz's message requests. So that, how open would he have been to that kind of advice, so I don't think he was with it. I think his ego just out of proportion, and no poo-pooing Pedro. All right, Danny, even though I'll allow you to call back, no poo-pooing Pedro.
Well, you can call back, but he's not getting on the air. It's one call a day. You spend a minute and 15 seconds before you get to your point, and then you say don't hang. You complain about how long you're on hold, and then you say don't hang up on me. You are inviting me. You are asking me to hang up on you. It is not your show. It is my show. Get your own show. You are welcome on my show anytime. I love your takes, Danny. I love your energy, all that stuff. But the second you start acting like you run this thing, not. My show. Mine. I'll turn into Rafael Devers all I want. I'll be a baby. I'll say mine. I play third. I host, Danny. You call, I host. You talk, I talk. And then in the end, I have the power to cut you off because in the end, I think people are tired of hearing you yell. I like you, Danny, personally. You're always welcome on the program. But the second you start acting like you have some type of control, let me remind you that I'm here and you're there.
More Brezlo than Devers.
Oh, yeah. I'm vengeful, like Craig Brezlo.
Yeah.
I'm a vengeful dork. I'm a vengeful nerd.
Right. I can see you empathizing a little bit with them. I don't think it helps the clubhouse. I think I'm with Red Sox Nation. I'm up in arms. The return really is where you could stab me in the chest. It's like I can't think of an example of salary dumps and these kind of trades. Why does it always seem like the Red Sox getting fleeced on historical trades?
That's why I asked Sam Kennedy that question. And what did he say? Kiss the ring.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That was the soundbite tonight. God bless you. And then he let you follow up. They did cut the feed on Nesson at that particular time, but for the follow up. But I was able to go back and listen. You were great.
No, Nesson aired the follow up question. They separated it. They went to break and then they came back and they started it with a follow up question. There was nothing. Real quick, I've heard people say, that Nesson didn't want that stuff out there. Nesson was. They handled it.
They were
exactly.
open, and
they were open to it. They posted.
What a great
the
pregame.
exchange. They posted the exchange with Kennedy. And by the way, I hear people speculate that the Red Sox want to try to control the message. I will tell you right now, there was no process that you needed to go through to ask a question. You need to be a member of the media, but it was free game. You could ask a question. They let me ask a question. They let Dondero ask a question. They took all the hard questions. You might disagree with the way they answered it, but Red Sox PR gets an unnecessary amount of crap for, people act like they're trying to, control things, control the media. No, they're not. I will tell you that firsthand experience. All I needed to do was log in. I didn't even need to raise my hand. I just needed to turn my mic on and ask a question. And they didn't cut me off, and they didn't do any of that. Red Sox PR handles it exactly the way they should. They are total pros over there. And they get an unnecessary amount of crap in this town because people assume, they've just started to assume things about the organization. You can criticize the Red Sox for a lot of things. You can't criticize them for that. They did not unnecessarily try to control the media in any sense whatsoever. 617-779-0985. I have a question I want to ask you, George. So I'm looking here, I'm watching this game, and they keep showing the shots of San Francisco and the ballpark. This is the ballpark in baseball you need to go to. It's
Gorgeous.
this, and it's Pittsburgh. Sports destinations. What are your top sports destinations? Let's do that next. As a fan, before you die, sports bucket list trip, where are you going? Because I'm telling you, this place, this ballpark in San Francisco needs to be on your list. Let's do that on the other side. It's Matt McCarthy hanging out on a Saturday afternoon.
More Matt McCarthy on the way on the Sports. Listening to Matt McCarthy.
This is brutal.
On Boston's home for sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Red Sox down 1-0 on a Ramos solo home run. But Rafael Devers saw 2 pitches in the first inning, both of them fastballs grounded out to first base. That is poetic right
0 for
there.
6, baby.
0 for 6 against the Red Sox because they're just attacking him with fastballs, because that is his weakness. We all know it. They know it, and credit to them for not going to their stupid breaking ball strategy. Which, by the way, real quick, Jimmy Stewart did text me some numbers on that. It feels like the Red Sox aren't throwing as many breaking balls, and that is true. From Stu, from opening day through June 5th, the Red Sox ranked 23rd in fastball usage, 6th in cutter usage over that stretch. From June 7th on, they've ranked 17th in fastball usage and 1st in cutter usage. That is since Pregame took over the pitching staff, according to Jimmy Stewart, which is a good way to put it. So the Sox are throwing the harder stuff. More gas, less ass for the Red Sox, and shocker, their pitchers have been better. But again, down 1-0. I think it was a breaking ball that Ramos took out off Bayo, because most of them are. Yeah, it was. That was a cutter. So, well, not always right about everything. Sports destinations. I had this thought last night as I'm watching the Red Sox game, and they're showing all the shots from outside the ballpark and in the ballpark. And if you're a baseball fan, San Francisco is like, you've got to go there. If you haven't been there, it is stunningly beautiful. It is one of the great ballpark experiences in all of baseball. It's awesome. It's great. I can't recommend it enough. Like, everybody should go there. It is a modern classic. And it got me thinking, I've been lucky enough to be there, and I've gone to a number of ballparks. I want to go to all 30 one day. I think I'm at 11 or 12 at this point. But it got me thinking, where are the places in sports that I want to go before I die, before we all kick the bucket? And, a number of things kind of came, rushing, to my head. Said, ask the people. Why not ask the people? And you know what I came to, George, is that the vast majority of these kind of sports venues, it's in 2 sports. It's baseball and golf. Those are the sports where the venue is, I think, a huge part of the experience.
Well, I do like an outdoorsy football experience as well.
How many of those are special, though?
Or destination driving? I mean, Lambeau would probably put, as the cathedral up there.
Lambeau's it. Lambeau's it for football. For the NFL,
and that's it.
There are more in college football.
Correct.
You want to go to Notre Dame and do a game there, and the tradition and all of those things. There are more in college football. And not being the world's biggest college football fan.
Yeah, Pasadena.
Right. Going to a Rose Bowl game, yes. That totally sports bucket list, sports venue, sports destination bucket list, no doubt about it. But most of football, it's like, hey, I like going to Gillette Stadium, right? I like going to, wherever. You want to go to Nashville? Great. You're not going for the stadium. You're going for the city. You're going for the experience. So that's a bit of a different discussion.
I'd agree with you there.
Pittsburgh is a great sports road trip city. That place is awesome. I mean, you got the arena downtown. You walk across the bridges. It's all right there. You got the baseball stadium, the football stadium. Pittsburgh is not only one of America's most underrated cities, it is one of America's great sports road trip cities. It's awesome. It's easy to get to. I can't recommend that thing enough. But I'm not going to say that about Heinz Field, like the venue itself. It's just a football stadium. The baseball stadium, though, in Pittsburgh, that place is something more than that. That is special. That is one. If you have not done a baseball game in Pittsburgh, that spot is awesome. It's something out of a painting.
It's Paul Skeens game.
Gorgeous.
Isn't he just wasting away down there?
Gorgeous ballpark. It's so sad. That franchise should be so much better. They have an absolute gem of a ballpark in a sport where I think it really does matter. I think venue is a part of the experience. Baseball and golf. Baseball and golf.
Where would you want to go? Would you want to go to the Masters for golf?
The Masters.
Of course.
St. Andrews, like a U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. The venue matters. The venue is a part of the experience. I can go to Tampa and have a nice time and go to Raymond James Stadium, but who gives a crap about Raymond James Stadium? Like the actual venue experience? Football doesn't have that. Basketball and hockey doesn't have that. Is there any arena out there where it's like, I need to go to that arena?
Nice. I just had an epiphany. I'm going to blame corporate America and sponsorships for all these stadiums. That continuity, I mean, going back in the day for basketball, I would have told you, the Mecca, Spectrum, the United Center, things that I could have memorized in the back of my head, not like changing these highway exit numbers and all that. I'm not going to memorize that anymore. Go screw. I don't need to know what your corporate sponsorship stadium is now. You've taken that away from me.
It's not even just the naming thing. Do I need to go to the Staples Center or the Crypto.com whatever arena? Do I need to do that? No. I mean, literally the only one you'd even consider is Madison Square Garden, and I think it's the most overrated place. It's the most overrated venue in all of sports. Oh, Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. Oh, all the great things that have happened at Madison Square Garden. Like what? Name one. Go for it.
I love it.
For the New York
Willis
Knicks.
Reed game.
Yeah, the Willis Reed game in 1972. That's it. Name one. Go ahead. Do it. George, I dare you right now.
Dude,
Madison Square Garden. The Mecca of basketball. The world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Oh, kiss my ass.
The last time the
Madison
Knicks
Square
won
Garden.
a game in the finals was the day that they were chasing O.J. Simpson around in the white Bronco.
Oh boy, that was a huge part, which is otherwise a great documentary. But Madison Square Garden. Let me take my pants off about Madison Square Garden. Who gives a crap about Madison Square Garden or the arena? I'd say the same thing about the Boston Garden, TD Garden. It's an arena. There's nothing special about it. It's fine. The fans make it special because it's loud and it's all that. But like that thing doesn't exist in those sports.
Madison Square Garden for wrestling, though. Me and Jace do. We have to do it someday.
Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden. The world's give me a break with that thing. Come on. It's baseball and golf. Those are the two true venue sports. And this ballpark in San Francisco is one. It's incredible. If you haven't been, you got to go. So my list in baseball, Fenway, Wrigley. Wrigley's awesome. Wrigley is not just the ballpark, which is incredible. It's Wrigleyville. It's just great. San Francisco, PNC, Camden Yards, and maybe throw Dodger Stadium in there. It's not my favorite spot, but the view from Dodger Stadium, you can't beat that. It's getting to Dodger Stadium's horrible. What a terrible
that
experience.
LA traffic, my goodness.
Oh,
Sexy ball club, though, and good uniforms.
Classic. That thing. It is historic. Yeah. First ballpark out west type of thing. Like, it has that thing, which you need, right? If we're talking about the venue bucket list, if you said it's on yours, I would not crap all over that. But if you're like, hey, I really want to go to the whatever they call it, the Lucas Oil Dome in Indianapolis. Like, who gives a crap with that? Seriously. 617-779-0985. Sports venues. Welchie in Framingham. Welchie.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Got you off speaker. Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Hey, all right. So, listen, I've been born and raised in Boston, and long story short, in 2007, I made a promise to God that if Iowa, the Hawkeyes, won a game, I'd be a lifelong fan, and I've been a devoted fan for almost 20 years. To go to Iowa and see them play Nebraska, that is the dream. Any guy's trip that I've ever planned has been around going to see a college football atmosphere, and that to me is the dream. I know
that you're spot on about, Welchie, and I can't speak enough. I don't have enough level of expertise about college football because I'm just not the world's biggest college football guy. But college football has so much more of that. The venue experience. It's like
rivalry games.
I want to go to the Big House to see Ohio State, Michigan. That's a sports venue. That's a sports destination compared to hey, I want to go to the Superdome to see the Falcons and the... No, you want to go to New Orleans because New Orleans is awesome and you want to drink and eat all weekend and then just go to the Superdome. That's not that thing. New Orleans is a destination. The venue itself isn't. The NFL doesn't have too many of those things. College football does, though. You're I want to go to Death Valley and see a game.
More rivalries, though, for college, to be sure, right?
Right, that experience. I want to go to the Rose Bowl. that thing, in on that. How about Justin in Fall River? Justin.
Hey, what's up, Matt? Can you hear me?
I got you.
Hey, completely agree with you about the NFL venues. There is no good NFL venues to go to nowadays. But
Lambeau.
I wanted to take
That's it. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. The other side of the world, though, if you're interested, I don't know how interested you are in soccer. But
I love soccer.
A European football match, man. If you go to one of those stadiums in Madrid or Portugal or something, the Bernabeu, the Camp Nou, you're not going to get better history accompanied with heritage and environment. It's a different playing field out there, man. Out there, it's like I said, it doesn't get better than that for environments along with history behind the stadium and the club and all that.
You are totally right about that, Justin. That is absolutely a sports bucket list item. And I don't know enough about, I'm a soccer guy, I don't know enough about the stadium. I know the Bernabeu, I know Camp Nou. Like, you want to go to those. Sure, yes, absolutely. So you could call in and say, hey, my sports destination is I'm just going to, Juventus's stadium, wherever that is. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you enough about the history of those stadiums, but that's a destination in and of itself to do that thing.
Right, or even like a World Cup final, next year, right? Gillette will have some select matchups, and eager to see what the draw is and what countries we get for Gillette Stadium.
Can't wait.
A couple knockout rounds as well, too. So advancing into the tournament, we're going to get a good feel for the World Cup next year over here in Massachusetts.
Quarterfinal game at Gillette Stadium. That I will be all over that. But that in and of itself, though, isn't about the venue. It's like I would go to a World Cup final if they held it at, wherever.
Right.
It doesn't matter. That's not about like I'm going to this place.
I was thinking about that with
this
prize fights too, right? Like, it would be more about the combatants than the venue.
Right. I could watch two high school teams play at this ballpark in San Francisco, and it's about the venue. It's about the place. That ballpark is incredible. Everybody should go, type of thing. Wrigley, same thing. Like that. I could walk the grounds of Augusta with no golf going on whatsoever, and it's the venue thing. I don't care where you play your World Cup final. Of course I'd go to a Super Bowl. Of course I'd go to a World Cup final. I'd go to it anywhere because I'm going there for the event, the game, the match, whatever that thing is.
Summer's here, folks. Time to travel.
Wimbledon. Center court Wimbledon.
My goodness, right? You get to the final and then you get to no tiebreakers and have 2-day games.
Roland Garros. Just those iconic historic places in sports. I'd love to go to a U.S. Open final or just
Flushing,
a U.S.
right,
Open,
New York.
But that's not. I mean, of course, it's about the environment, but it's not about the venue itself.
Correct.
Arthur Ashe or Louis Armstrong, and they look like great places to watch a game, a match like that. I'm totally into it. I love it. I'm talking about sports venues.
Right, something that's a monument, something that you can kiss, you can take something with you, and I was there.
It's a cathedral. Lambeau has that. I've never been to a football game at Lambeau. I've been on a tour there. I would love to go to a game in Lambeau in December. Just do that thing.
And I love
tailgate outside, like that thing.
Love Fenway. I get that feeling every time I go there.
No doubt.
It's sad that the ballpark is just going to make out, and that's how they're going to make ends meet with this ball club, because I would love to boycott them and for the dissatisfaction I have on the team.
Look at your TV there, George. Look at that shot.
Oh, it's just so beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's stunning.
McCarthy Cove, all that.
Oh, it's great. That you got to go. I'm telling you got to go. Tremendous. 617-779-0985. We continue. It's McCarthy hanging out on Saturday.
Stay tuned for more Matt McCarthy.
Matt McCarthy.
I'm going after everybody.
They say off the air he's a nice guy.
And there will be no mercy.
But you know otherwise. It's Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
We got some more David Ortiz news. Ortiz responding to the haters, the people who are calling him out for... Well, he's right in the middle of this thing, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he's catching strays, but he definitely is a team-first player.
Oh, yeah, he's undeniably compromised. I will not deny that. But David Ortiz has posted something again on social media, which we will get to here momentarily. And you, 617-779-0985. How about Matt in Beverly? Hey, Matt.
Hey, guys. How's it going? I thought of a couple different spots. I always get sucked in when they do, like, stunt stadiums for different events. Biggest one is Field of Dreams that MLB does. It's a great venue.
Great call on that. And they didn't do it last year, and I think there were some questions about whether they were going to do it again. That thing was awesome. Awesome. Such a cool experience. I would love to go to one of those games again for the venue thing. Like Winter Classic too, just to be there for the venue. Great call on that. Seriously.
That's what I thought too. The other one I thought of, I forget what teams they put on, but college basketball threw a game like on the deck of an aircraft carrier. Like, sure, let's do more weird stuff like that. Why not?
I'm into weird stuff, Matt. I've heard that before. Matt McCarthy. Headline.
Right. We are for the military here. That's right.
Into weird stuff. Yes. That Field of Dreams game. Beautiful.
I'm a baseball guy too. That just hits you right in the feels. It's whatever age too, and then the father-son connections. I would love that.
Griffey Sr. and Griffey Jr. coming out of the cornfield, or as Tim McCone once called him, Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Jr. Sr. coming out of the cornfield. That thing.
Those two playing together. I mean, for father-son duos, that might be top-notch in terms of quality. I remember Junior stealing that fly ball from his old man.
Good stuff. Good times. I wonder if David Hamilton's dad can field because his son can't. It's very apparent.
Oh, my God. Is it another one?
Yeah, watch this. He totally butchers this ground ball. I mean, this is easy. Backhand.
Yeah, backhand.
That's no Andre Agassi backhand there, David Hamilton.
No. Yeah, he looked like he was rushing himself. You got to know who's running down the line. Make the play. I've been very disappointed in the Red Sox defense as a whole.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah. You can't fungo and hit them grounders enough. But, the Red Sox defensively has been a big letdown. That's demoralizing for a pitcher as well, to have to pitch extra pitches for the extra outs to overcompensate for that. Crochet, the lack of support. He should have a much more stellar record than he does. It's just been the lack of the run support and the defense that just inexcusable.
All right, Red Sox in action right now. David Ortiz now responding to everybody on social media. He has posted, it appears to be a video or a screenshot of a video that I'm seeing here online. He has posted his unresponded texts and calls to Rafael Devers in March. Tuesday, March 25th. George, do you speak Spanish at all? Because I do not.
I do, yeah. If I can bring it up and I can translate anything, absolutely.
Go to Gordo on Twitter, Boston Sports Gordo on Twitter. If you could try and translate these texts from David Ortiz, that would be much appreciated. This guy, Tuesday, March 25th, text Rafael Devers, no response. Sunday, March 30th, text Rafael Devers multiple times, no response. This is in the height of all of this stuff. Actually, so this would have been right before the start of the season. And then when Devers had the worst start to a regular season in the history of baseball, it would have been over that weekend. It looks like Ortiz is texting him.
Right.
I'd be really curious to get the context.
That's right, yeah.
So tries to send a video call to him on March 31st, no response. And David Ortiz is up here holding the phone being like, hey, look, I was trying to speak to this jackass.
So, buen manito, ¿cómo te sientes? Hey, brother, how do you feel? And then he waits 5 days for that. So then he texts him after the struggle.
He texts him, hey, brother, how do you feel? That's 2 days before the start of the regular season.
Y mi muchacho, ¿qué lo que? KLK is kind of just like, hey, what's up? So like, hey, my brother, what's up? Esto está... I'll have to read it, but and then translate. So, yeah, bear with me.
Okay. Much appreciated. Look at this. live on the air translation of David Ortiz's texts to Rafael Devers. I'm going to assume it's along the lines of what Ortiz has been saying, is trying to help the kid, trying to reach out to him, trying to offer him some advice, and Devers
nice. So yeah, this is
it.
advice then, to be sure. So yeah, this is just starting, but I'm looking at the game, and today the only thing I seen was your waist. You know, you got estaba un poco agresiva. And nothing more. So he's trying to give him advice on his batting stance, and that he's quick on the waist, quick with the swing.
This happened on Sunday, March 30th, at the end of the Texas series when Devers set the record for most strikeouts in the first weekend of a major league season. So here's David Ortiz, a Hall of Famer,
trying to counsel him. Yeah,
texting Rafael Devers some advice.
Yeah,
and ladies and gentlemen, Rafael Devers has just taken Brian Bayo deep to left field. A solo home run, a 2-run shot for Devers. 3-0 San Francisco.
Friends with each other, I tell you.
Rafael Devers has responded, and he has taken Brian Bayo, of course.
I'm eager to see Bayo the rest of the way. I think he would have been one of the silent proponents for Devers. But going back to the Ortiz, if you want, just whenever you can.
I want to watch this replay. I want to see how
much it was crushed.
This is grooved to death, because I just saw the swing.
Yeah, damn pitch clock. They wait for the next pitch. But
I want to see the replay. I want to see what the pitch was and what the strategy was here. But there you go. Rafael Devers takes him deep.
Yeah.
Fastball. Looks like it. Looks like a two-seam fastball that stays up, and then Devers just takes it the other way. It's a beautiful swing.
He's really an elite hitter, right? When he's following that outside pitch like that and going the other way, just all-class elite.
The Red Sox don't have that.
Yeah, and for Ortiz, he's just basically, telling them, to call him, and he'll tell him what he did to kind of when to get out of those kind of slumps is what it is. And then he even gave him a video call the day later. I don't know if it's him swinging or whatever. I can only speculate, but yeah. He looks like he's just trying to be a good big brother.
And Devers wanted nothing to do with it. All he wants to do is eat ice cream and swing the bat. And don't ask him to do anything. And the San Francisco Giants are going to let him eat ice cream and swing the bat. And he just swung the bat in a big way. Yeah. There's a story for you right there. Yeah, he takes you deep.
You can't expect Ortiz to come in after the Casa situation, then and to come in a month later after and counsel him when he was refusing counsel earlier in the year without any gripes or there's no mention of Bregman here. It's just hey, how you doing, and watching him struggle and has some advice for him on how to get out of it. So very, very genuine out of Big Papi. It's good to see that. I don't like any of this stuff kind of ironed out through the media, but he definitely is a team player, and he was on Devers' side to be sure. This isn't any Devers bashing on his end, I would say.
Tried to help him.
Correct.
He did. And Devers turned a cold shoulder to Ortiz and the rest of the organization. And is it disingenuous of Ortiz after defending Devers publicly 3 weeks ago, to now come out and rip him the way he has? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
and he's doing the team's bidding on that, yes. But I do think part of it's personal for Ortiz. Here he is trying to help the kid out. He, in some ways, viewed Devers as a continuation of his legacy. Devers was going to be the big power-hitting left-handed DH of the future. It's obviously a role that Ortiz played better than anybody in the history of the franchise, and I think he wanted that thing to succeed, and I think he cared about him, and Devers wanted nothing to do. Can you imagine David Ortiz texting you hitting advice and not at least saying, hey, thanks, Papi, thanks for looking out for me? Can you imagine that?
I could not. It's just like a slap in the face, I would say.
But it goes to show you where Devers was at. He was done with the thing. He didn't want to be bothered by anybody. He wanted nothing to do with the organization. And now he's in San Francisco hitting bombs off Brian Bayo. Devers, a 2-run homer because, of course, what a weekend. What a weekend. We continue. It's McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
You're listening to Matt McCarthy on
play, Renfro.
Hot takes.
This team blows.
And passion advice.
Shave your mustache, dude. It sucks.
Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
All right, it's Matt McCarthy here for a few more minutes. Back 2 to 5 tomorrow, I think. You check that, George? 2 to 5? Is that right? That sounds about right. I don't know. I just work under the assumption I'm here most days.
That is correct.
Nailed it. Wow, look, I'm so on top of it. So prepared. It's a good weekend, right? I mean, it's the first weekend of summer.
Definitely is, and not a dreary one at that. So, yeah, a real weekend.
First Saturday in 13 Saturdays where we haven't had rain. Is that right?
Dude, that's crazy how we went through the whole spring and had that happen for every Saturday. At least I was here, but my God.
Take one look at me. I do not mind the rain. The sun is actually my sworn enemy. Last name McCarthy. It's not my thing.
Next week, welcome.
I don't like the sun. That being said, this weekend reminds me that the PGA Tour has let us down in this area completely. So, Travelers Championship going on at River Highlands. I've actually never been out to River Highlands. I need to get out there one year for this tournament, which I hear is a great time and a great take. But, George, did you ever get an opportunity to go to TPC Boston Labor Day weekend?
Oh, not Labor Day weekend. I have been as a street teamer, but my God, I would love to go for the actual event.
It's awesome. Golf events are a great live sporting event because you make your own experience. You can walk around, you can sit at a hole, you can follow a golfer, you can do this, you can go into the shops, you got access to a hospitality tent. That's great too. It is a great walk around, just enjoy yourself day out watching the best golfers in the world. I think golf events are some of my favorite sporting events to attend. And we here in Boston are completely and totally robbed of not having one. And the PGA Tour needs to fix this. John Henry, you own the PGA Tour. Bring him here. Jay Monahan, who's retiring as PGA Tour commissioner, is from here. Jay, dude, how is this the only tournament in the Northeast every single year, this Travelers Championship? And I know a ton of people who go out there every year because they're golf people and they need to get their fix, and they've gotten better turnouts in recent years. It's become a bigger event. I think in some ways the PGA Tour is trying to make this thing bigger. I think they've made the purse bigger to try and get the best golfers out there because it's the only event that happens in the Northeast. I don't even think they play the tournament near New York for the FedEx Cup or whatever. I think that thing's gone too now. So the PGA Tour completely and totally has screwed up the Northeast market. Why does Boston not have an annual event on the PGA Tour every single year? They got to fix that.
Beats me.
The issue is that TPC Boston is too easy. Dustin Johnson won it at 30 under a few years ago, the last time they played it during COVID. You can't have it. They need to figure something out. They either need to get the international up to speed or they need to, really tiger-proof TPC Boston.
Right, start to move some of the holes around.
You got to make that course tougher. You have to make that course tougher because we should have a PGA Tour event. And I get jealous every year this weekend. Like, why does Connecticut get a PGA Tour event? And they say River Highlands is a great place to go and all that. I'm sure it is. Why does Boston not have a PGA Tour event every year? We got the FM Championship coming up again this year. The LPGA, I didn't go last year. I'm planning on going this year. I actually really hope we're broadcasting live there from the Sports Hub because that was always a great time and a great event. Going down there, doing live broadcasts off the 18th green. It was awesome. Boston needs one every single year. We need to get this figured out. I implore the PGA Tour and I implore the folks at TPC Boston, whatever it takes, you got to get that course more up to standards, the modern day standards, to get that event back here every single year.
Shout out to everybody golfing right now with the beautiful weather. And shout out to Scotty Scheffler. It is his birthday today. He does turn 29 years of age. My God, how old we are.
He looks about 39.
Yeah, age for sure. Yeah, we'll see how he is into his 30s.
That time in prison will really age you, I'll tell you.
Yeah, currently tied for 13th at a +3.
Man, TPC Boston, too, from a fan experience, it's easy. You just park at Xfinity. Sorry, I can't believe I said that. Great Woods. You park at Great Woods. They shuttle you over. It's a great event. It was awesome. They just got it. They got to fix the venue for the players. No. Great Woods.
You got it.
Great Woods. There's a venue they need to fix. There's a place that should be better than it actually is. Sounds great. I love the sound of Great Woods. Everything else, it could use a bit of a renovation.
Enjoy Chris Stapleton tonight, you and Barthy?
Should be a good time. Should be a good time. Looking forward to that. Hey, George.